Hi, everyone. It's Renee and Nadia with Living Beyond Limits. Look, I'm so excited to be here today. It's been a minute, y'all, since I literally have had an opportunity, and it's just a blessing to have an opportunity to be able to interview someone. Y'all know this was how even everything got started with Living Beyond Limits, me having the opportunity to connect with others so that they could be a blessing to you. So I finally had another opportunity, and I'm super excited. Before we get started, you know what I'm going to say. Hit the subscribe button and the like button. You've been here before. I know you're going to be here again. So go ahead and subscribe if you have not already and hit the like button. Living Beyond Limits was created. I'll tell you this real quick, to give us that push, that extra fire under us so that we can move and be operating in our God-given gifts, talents, and abilities. The enemy hates when we're doing that. So God wants us to have these nuggets and these tools so that we can move forward in the things that he wants us to move forward in. So welcome, Karen. I am so excited to have you today. God bless you, my sister.
I am absolutely thrilled,
Oh,
thrilled to be here.
oh, you know what? And before we get started, I am going to read your bio. So let me see. I'm going to pull it open here. Here we go. Karen Wilson, with a lifetime dedicated intention to spiritual growth, Miss Karen Wilson has embraced life's challenges and triumphs, channeling her experiences into a mission to share wisdom and foster a community of love. And I can see that all in your book and growth. A devoted mother, wife, daughter, and current big pharma executive. You are a busy lady, Karen, but God's got you. Miss Karen now adds author to the list of her accomplishments with the release of her book, Protective Love. In this heartfelt work, she intertwines precious memories of hope, hardship, and heartbreak, drawing lessons from her mother, Miss Ruth May's legacy. More than a memoir, Miss Karen invites readers to reflect and grow through self care, exercises, and that's so important, journaling prompts, and practical insights. Passionate about mental wellness, she offers an empowering guide to navigate life's challenges while advocating for healing and self discovery in her new transformative book. Karen, welcome. I am so excited to have you again. This is amazing. Hey, let's open up by you just sharing what made you write this book, what made you go on this journey to even create this book. And before you get started, here it is, you guys. It's Protective Love, and this is her book. It's a beautiful cover. Go ahead, Karen.
So I love the question because I didn't start out on a journey to write a book. It was really and I'm laughing because I can think about it like it was yesterday. It was a best friend, as only another sister girl could do. She challenged me because she knew that I had journaled throughout the course of my life, and and she knew that I wasn't fully living in the present, right? I had been a caregiver for so long. Um, so she said, "Look, I know you're still journaling," and she said, and because she was an active participant in supporting me through a lot of different things, she said, I think you have something there.
Mm,
And of course, I didn't believe her, right? She fed me though, so that was a cool thing. She fed me, and
that's exciting.
so, but I prayed about it, and then she said, I'm going to connect you to an editor who I know, and she connected me with Holly Jenkins Livers. I'm sorry, and the journey, the journey began, and so the real healing began when I started to pick out the lessons, select what I thought would be powerful and impactful. And I was extremely intentional about the lessons not being about exposing anyone else. It
Mhm,
was clearly lessons that my mother taught me. So at
mhm,
the beginning of the book, I was pretty apprehensive. Like, let's just say lesson one, I was pretty apprehensive.
mhm.
But by the end of the writing, I I imagined my mother reading it
Mm,
and her saying to me, you know what, girl, you really were paying attention.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. Wow. That's amazing. That's amazing. I love that. You could feel your mom's spirit there.
Mhm.
Realize that she was there from start to finish and has been there. And I guess writing the book just took you on that journey to say, wait, my mom, her spirit is still here, what she taught me. And,
Mhm.
and see that through the book. Let's start with a couple, that I actually read too. Lesson 16, you talked about how your mom taught you about gratitude and being grateful, not becoming bitter and remorseful. And that's Karen, that's so tough for some people when they're going through certain things, especially for long periods of time. It's so easy to become bitter and remorseful. Talk about that lesson.
This was this was so profound for me. When I wrote this lesson, it was a very emotional lesson for me to write because it allowed me to journey through my lifetime, my childhood. Like, oh, make sure you say thank you, right? It went from me being a kid and her instilling gratitude into her modeling the kind of grace that she did during her suffering, right? So,
Mm,
stroke, debilitated, uh, cancer, two cancers, seizures, COPD. I mean, a lot of hospital physical therapy time, a lot of caregivers,
mm,
and my mother could be in the most horrific neuropathic pain where you couldn't touch anything on her body. And so if you did the smallest act of kindness for her, she would fight through the pain to touch your hand to say thank you. Not just to say thank you, but she would fight through what somebody and anybody that was in the room would know it was painful for her to touch you. And
mm,
she would touch you to let you know that she was grateful. It
mm,
was her way of letting you know that you mattered.
yeah.
And I thought it was really so powerful. And so by the end of this lesson, which we sat on it when I go back and reflect about, like it wasn't a lesson that we moved through quickly. By the end of the lesson, I understood that my mother was teaching gratitude not as a reaction, but as a state of being. She
Mm,
lived in it.
mm,
She
that's
lived in it. I mean, it's like, it's the same way she anticipated God to show up. I mean, her faith was like something I had never seen and experienced, but her level of gratitude was her state of being.
mm,
So it taught that every day was a gift, no matter what your circumstances. So what started as the little kids teaching and make sure you say thank you, if Miss So and so does anything, now, that was
yeah,
to the point of me seeing what real gratitude looks like when it's a part of your being. And I
yeah.
thought it just moved me so that now I live my life like every day.
Mm.
And there's not a day that goes by that I don't live in a state of gratitude.
That's so important and that's powerful, because when we're not find that if we don't have that instilled in us like you did as a child, it really can make life really tough. That's really powerful. How about lesson 18, making it your mission? How she taught you how to make it your mission, to help others and to make their lives better, and in turn, it enriches your life, our lives. Talk about that a bit because to me that's powerful, and I don't even know. I believe that that's what we're here for anyway. That's the way God designed it. So talk about lesson 18 and share about that as well.
So my mother believed that if you weren't helping somebody, that meant you weren't awake, right? So if you weren't awake, so you and I mean that could be. Listen, that was as young as shoveling the snow for Miss Mary down the street and making
I was
sure
gonna
you did
say
not.
that. Was your mom the person that everybody knew on the street, and
Oh,
if they needed anything, your mom would, she's right there, right?
and I mean everything. I mean, my mother was really, really grounded in the Word of God.
Mm,
I mean, we grew up. I mean, listen, I was never late for church. I mean, never, because I was in Sunday school and you didn't leave. Like, so when I grew up, church was like mandatory. It was all day.
Yeah.
And so, but she embodied it. So that's that's what we may not always see anymore, because
Mhm.
what she was in the building amongst the believers was the same way she was amongst people. So
Yeah.
everyone gravitated to her, right?
Yeah.
It didn't matter what it was. I mean, if if a person, for example, wanted to go back to school, I could really think some really key examples growing up. We would have their kids all summer. She was like, so and so's going back to school. She, she's working hard. Those kids will be here. So, in addition to whatever else you thought you were doing this summer,
Mhm.
that's what we'll be doing. I mean, there was like, I can only count a few summers in my lifetime growing up where there wasn't someone in that house, in addition to our family, like that was in there because of, of her need. And so fast forward to her being sick, uh, the caregivers, our
Mhm.
our caregivers were like family. My mother would notice that someone didn't have a coat that was warm enough for what she thought was a winter,
Mhm.
and it that meant immediately I was to see if there was a coat that fit in the house.
Mhm.
Like if there was a coat that fit, then
The
that coat
drill.
went.
You knew the drill, right? Yep.
And if there wasn't, my
Mhm.
mother would allow you to go through a catalog. Like she would say, pick out a coat you like a coat you like at Macy's, and that coat was in the house. That coat was shipped in the house. So imagine the lives that we touched, even inpatient, outpatient, rehabs. I mean, I still get invited to parties at rehabs. And it just, if you weren't helping someone, you were not, you were just not, you just weren't awake.
Yeah.
And so, and I think I write about my brother really helping someone whilst he was playing baseball and the kid was disabled. And you're young, you just want to win. That wasn't the way my mother saw it.
Yeah.
So you were only going to win by helping this other kid who was just different. She just identified somebody was just different. And so there really wasn't a part of my life to this day. That's why I talked to you recently on, in our prayer group about rest. Because I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't know what that looks like.
Right.
I'm trying to, what do you do? What do you do when you like the anger?
Right.
But she
Right.
really, I mean, it was really a blessing to grow up like that because we never lacked anything by helping people. That was the other thing that I loved. We didn't lose anything in helping people.
Those seeds sown came right
Hmm.
back to the house.
And I have befriended this homeless person, and it's just the craziest thing. When I go to the hairstylist, there's a homeless lady, and so I know her name, and she knows my name. And one day I went back over to give her something, and she's like, Karen, you look like you need it more than me today, so you keep it. That's
Oh,
how deep it gets. Like it's like yo, but I'm just saying, like you know what, you probably right. But I'm just saying that I can't, I won't be able to sleep at night. So if it's something that I miss, um, then I won't be able to sleep at night. And the
yeah.
next morning I have to do it. So because that's what she fueled, and I love that because even if we take it to another spiritual dimension, I know that God showed my mother His favor. See, my mother had God's favor. There were things that happened that blessed me because God was blessing her.
Yeah. Yeah. There you
That's
go.
why your circle matters. Because I was like, I'm just catching a glimpse because He was blessing her.
Yeah. Yeah. That's it. And that's a mouthful because people don't understand that when our lives are it's not about never about us. And you're
Mm-hmm.
talking about generations to come. You're talking about our
Mm-hmm.
children's children. And I'm with you on that, Karen. There are lot of things that our parents stood on and our grandparents stood on were it trickled down and became to our benefit. So I truly believe that, and the seeds that your mom sowed, that comes back into the house, it's into the children's lives. And I think what you said again is so important, especially for parenting and raising kids, instilling those qualities in you, the wisdom, helping others, putting God first. That takes them such a long way in life. It really, really does. So That's awesome. Let's talk about lesson 22. Your mom emphasized about having enough. She would talk about, hey, we have enough. We're blessed. She's going to bless, definitely bless the food. It said, bless, definitely thank God for a roof over your heads and things like that. And I think that that is so important because when I read that, I thought about the fact that in today's time, if we're not mindful and if we're not thankful about what we have and verbalize it, God, I thank you for the food. It becomes, we get our shift becomes off. Now we're not focused on with the goodness of God. We're focused on the lack and what we don't have. So speak to that, Karen. I thought that that was great. Yeah, lesson 22.
So this, I mean, so I just have to, I mean, I'm trying not to laugh about it because I just don't like leftovers to this day. We had enough, but I had enough. I had enough of leftovers. I was like, I don't like them to this day. I'm like kidding. I'm like, because, we had enough.
You eat it
And
till it's gone.
so my mother's, like enough was not a quantity. So enough again was a perspective. So my mother believed that, while again we were focused on, making sure we bless the food and we thank God for the food, and even if it was the same chicken from Sunday and she made it into a hash on Thursday, she wanted us to understand that true peace comes from contentment.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Mm-hmm.
the interesting thing about this is that when I began 2025, post my healing journey of writing this Protective Love, my theme for this year is enough.
Mm-hmm.
So my mother began teaching it about quantity, physical quantity, quality. What do we have is enough, and it was really to have us look at what we don't lack.
Mm-hmm.
And really, so that was where it began. But as I've journeyed myself through my own journey now through journaling, I journal every morning called Morning Glory, and it's all about enough. So my enough has taken on a different perspective from Protective Love. It is now about spiritual enough. What's enough peace? What's enough faith? How much faith gets God's attention? What's enough in terms of spiritual gifts? So stepping into a kingdom level of looking at enough.
Come on, somebody.
And when I tell you
Mm.
that I am able to do things that they have to be supernatural,
Mm-hmm.
since I've moved into what she was teaching about enough,
Mm-hmm.
into me saying, okay, so enough really wasn't about a thing at all. It was about my perspective on how do I define contentment.
That's good.
And you can never define contentment in a physical realm.
Yep.
You have to look at spiritual gifts.
Come on
You,
now.
you have to. So now, I mean, what started off as,
Mm.
that's why I said her teaching was phenomenal, because it has ripple effects.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm hoping that people see in reading it, and even being inspired to journal, because the journey of Protective Love truly healed me, right?
Mm-hmm.
Healed me from the inside out, from me looking at grief and loss. Like, it healed me to say, what a life. Like, and I could never love the life more than the giver of the life.
Mm. Come on now.
So this is
That's,
all
mm.
part of this growth that I'm on. And you've got to be able to start at the physical level. So, oh, yeah, I'm good. I'm good with that. And then you've got to it'll move you into other spaces where you will really find yourself having a sense of peace and contentment that is no way the world could give it to you. So
Mm-hmm.
I've been really blessed by it. Like, what started as me saying, I can't wait to be 21 so I could wear high heel shoes, not have a coat, and not eat leftovers. Like, that's how it started. I was like, we have enough. I'm good. But now it has moved into this lane where I'm really searching on a much deeper level for enough.
Mhm.
Because if I really look at my life, I don't want for anything.
Mhm. Mhm.
And it moves my gratitude. It brings you right on back down to contentment and being grateful. Right, brings you right back to that. So now I go, and when I'm having my conversations with God, I'm thanking Him for burdens I didn't have to carry.
Mhm.
I'm thanking Him for diseases He didn't have to heal on my body. And each and every day, I thank Him for what defines in that morning as enough.
Mhm. Mhm.
So it is when I leave to face the world, I mean, and everyone laughs that I'm a morning person anyway. I love the morning. So I am like skipping, honey, skipping and jumping.
Thanking God you woke up this morning. Yeah.
Well, and thanking Him for the abundance of the things that I can't see with the natural eye.
Yes. 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 I love that. Man, that could be a whole sermon within itself.
Mm-hmm.
That's so powerful that you said that, Karen, because when you focus, like you said, on the spiritual aspect of things more than the natural, there's nothing the enemy can do. But when,
It's
right, see, that's it right there, is he can't get you. He can always get us. If my door breaks or my house falls down or if that's my connection to me being is surviving or having enough or what stores I can go to versus where I can't and all that, the enemy can so easily creep in. But like you said, that was powerful when it's based on spiritual things and spiritual needs being met and covered by him and him alone. Oh my God, he can't touch you. That is
it's
so powerful. That's
it's
good.
it is probably, I mean, I'm halfway through the year. I have never been so blessed in my life.
Mm, mm,
Just in every way, right? Gabrielle, I mean, I could think of 10 different things
mm,
that have just be that have become because of my commitment, my intentionality to
mhm,
look at the supernatural, to look at the gifts that only come from God
mhm,
for enough.
mhm.
And so it is unbelievable. I mean, I can't, it's just too many stories to tell just off that. So
Yeah.
I'm happy that you picked that up because, like I said, it started as something like, oh, yeah, all right.
Yeah.
And that seed grew and then it grew. And now I'm able to take it to another level.
Yeah. And that goes back again, to the importance of parenting and
Mhm.
how the seeds that you sow, how like it turns into something even greater than you even imagine, that you planted. Because guess what? We're all here for a purpose. So that seed that your mom put in you took your purpose that you were created for, and that turned into something else even greater. I mean, girl, this is like it's just it's if people could get it, like you said, hey, get up in the morning or whatever and start focusing just on him. He will give you those nuggets right there. Oh,
Mhm.
that's powerful, Karen. That is powerful.
Yeah, so that's the theme. That's my theme this year is enough.
I love
And
it.
it's really, and when you really get into it, it's it's unbelievable.
Yeah, yeah,
It's unbelievable where the journey will take you.
yeah, yeah.
And I'll share one other thing because it was so powerful this year. And I did lose her. It was a friend's mother, and so and and I know that she didn't go into the hospital. She fell. She didn't go into the hospital thinking that she was not going to be here. And I remember the day distinctly. I've actually spoke about it at her homegoing, and she wanted to know why I was so upbeat. Like she had, even in the course of my mom losing my mom, she's like, I've just never seen you where you are not. You just, I don't see you down. So first in my mind, I was thinking I would never come and visit somebody sick in the hospital and be down. That was the first I said. But she knew me before that, and I realized that she was really trying to make peace with whatever God's will was for her life. While she wanted to be healed and she wanted to walk, she said, "Oh, I could give up driving, but I really want to walk again." And she said, "What do you do?" And I said, "I go to God in prayer about enough." And I said, and she said, what do you, I said, enough discernment. That's not of the world. She was like, girl, I said, I go for enough wisdom. I said, and I just asked God, for enough. Like I already know that he can do like abundantly more than I could think, ask, or imagine.
Right, right.
I only need enough.
Yeah.
Right. And I said, so, and that's where it led me to say to her, you know, what made God stop when the woman was pressing for when she touched him, right? How much faith was that, right? What's enough? What's enough, God, for that touch to be enough? Just a touch of his garment, right? So enough for somebody else would have needed him to turn around and, what's enough? Enough was a touch of his garment to stop her from bleeding. I mean, and after that,
Yeah, yeah.
after that experience, I was it was really emotional for me. I got outside and at the hospital, and I started to cry because I realized that God had led me there to have this prophetic time with her to really talk about my prayer life. And I prayed for her and I prayed that God would
Mm-hmm.
bless her with enough
Mm-hmm.
of what she needed to be, enough what she needed to have to be able to say, whatever God wills for my life, I will accept it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Woo, that's so, so powerful. Look, before we go, I have two questions, Karen. So the first one is, what advice do you have for people who are struggling with being a caregiver for a loved one, a family member, or a friend?
Well, what I will tell anyone is that, and it depends on where you are with care, because my mother was in my home. So if you're a caregiver and they're not at home, that has a different dynamic. So I know my experience of her being in my home.
Mm-hmm.
And so, there's no way for me to make caregiving something that it isn't. So I wouldn't say to somebody, oh, I've got some advice for you. Like, okay. Because I did a lot of things that people wouldn't advise you to do. I took care of my mother, I took care of my son, and I didn't take care of myself. So I would just tell the most important thing that I would tell a caregiver is to take it one day at a time.
Mm-hmm.
That's really it. I mean, and again, if you think about it, again, it's biblical, right?
Yeah, yeah,
It's
that's
biblical. The most important thing they do is to take it one day at a time.
yeah.
If you take it in and say, how long, if how long is the person going to live? How long are they going to be here? Right? They told me that my mother wouldn't live for, I don't know. They told me 30 days when she had the stroke, and I went into a chapel because I'd never seen a chapel door open, and it was open to her scripture, and I brought her home and she lived for 17 years.
Mhm.
So if you take it more than a day,
Mm.
you'll be overwhelmed.
Yeah,
You,
yeah.
you won't be able. So the most important thing they do is to take it one day at a time. And
Mhm.
depending on your support system, you may not have a moment.
Mhm.
Whatever that moment looks like, you can have a moment with the person you're taking care of.
Mhm.
If you think it's too much for them, then take a moment to yourself in the bathroom, right? Because you may not have all the time.
Mhm.
So, but take a moment
Mhm.
to just really experience this person, right? To really see what it's like for you and for them. What are you going to learn in it all? That's
Mhm.
really what Protective Love was about, because she was still teaching and she was sick.
Mhm.
And I was still writing about it in
Mhm.
those terms, right? Like,
Mhm. Mhm.
and that's the biggest thing they could do, is to take it one day at a time.
Mhm. Yeah, no, that's good. And then the last question is, what would you say to someone who is still can't they're going through grief from the loss of a loved one, and they can't seem to shake it, and it's probably past, some things they go so long now it's affecting their life and their own personal quality of life, and they can't seem to move forward. What would be some advice for them that you might have?
Well, certainly journaling has always been, I mean, that's the whole idea behind Protective Love. I mean, I journeyed, I really journaled to healing, right? It was a journey. And I still journal. But the most important thing, and I went to counseling as well. So I did counseling. So it was like Jesus, counseling, and whatever form you need. Because you don't have to, even if you journal, you don't have to write it anymore. You can speak into the phone. You could,
Right.
you know, you,
Mhm.
I don't even know what AI can do, but
Right.
it could do a lot. It could
Right.
capture it.
Right.
So, but the pivot point for me, what changed me from everything. One, God gave my mother favor. He showed her his favor. So I had time to say goodbye to her. That
Mm,
was her favor because she died in the height of COVID. And so
mm,
he blessed her to allow her to see me one last day. So I had closure because my mother, what did she do? Thanked me.
wow.
So that's different, right? So my experience is going to be different. What did she do when I showed in the room?
Mm,
Thank you, right?
mhm.
Thank you, God, for that favor. Now, not everybody has that experience.
Right. Right.
But what I will tell you is you cannot love the gift more than the giver.
Mhm.
So the way I looked at loss was I knew my mother was, I mean, she was larger than life.
Mhm.
And so I couldn't love her more than I loved the God who gifted me with her.
Right. That's
So
good.
I
That's
shifted
good.
off of the loss, and then I got into the gratitude to thank God for her being my mother.
Just what she wants you.
And
Yep.
thank God for all the tough lessons she was teaching throughout
Mhm.
the course of my life.
Yeah.
Once I started thanking God for all the ways that she had blessed my life, like He blessed my life with her.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
even to this day, I still get up and I tell God every morning, thank you for gifting me with your daughter, right? Because she belonged to God.
Mhm.
I say it every day. It's not a day that goes by that I don't thank God for gifting me with her.
Mhm.
That was the pivot. So I went from grief to
Mhm.
just loss. I
Mhm.
can't bring my mother back or my father back or my aunt or I had a friend. I can't bring any of those people back, but I could be really grateful for the gift.
Yeah.
And when you make that shift,
Yeah.
you will not. It's impossible to be grateful, mad, or sad at the same time.
Mm.
Can't
That
do it.
I love that. I
You
love
cannot do it.
Yeah, yeah. I love that. That's powerful. That's powerful. Karen, look, thank you so, so much. I'm telling you, girl, we could go on and on. I want you to share with people how they can get in touch with you to get a copy of your book. I'm also going to put this in the description box, but please, you can verbally share that if you'd like
Okay, so
to. Mhm.
certainly for Protective Love, if they want to purchase Protective Love by Karen Wilson, they can go into Amazon.com. It's right there, Protective Love by Karen Wilson. And if you want to get in touch with me personally, my email account is contact.protectivelove@gmail.com.
Awesome. And I'm going to put that in the description box. Karen, thank you so much.
Thank
Let
you.
me tell you,
Thank you,
it's been a blessing. Oh,
Renee. Thank you so much, Renee. Thank you for the
collaborate.
opportunity.
Everybody, this is Karen's book. It is amazing. I'm telling you, God wants to see you healed, delivered, and set free. Gratitude, being thankful, loss of loved ones. Hey, thank you, God, for the gift. I'm telling you, thank you, Karen, for those nuggets. You be blessed, girl, and we will be talking soon. Love you.
Thank you so much, Renee. Have a blessed night.
Absolutely. You too, sweetie. Bye bye.